Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called Magma Hurricanes, written by Farm Witch 4275. Human ingenuity knows no boundaries, especially when their experiments fail. The star system has become something of a tourist attraction, and all for the wrong reasons. The star system is known as Uluvar, a simple yellow main sequence star, 8 terrestrial planets, and 1 gas giant. Basically, normal rock and stone worlds that are as normal gets, save for the one furthest from the star, Uluvar 8. This planet has magma hurricanes. Don't blink at me like you didn't just hear exactly what I bloody said. I'll say it again so that you can properly hear me. Magma hurricanes. Simple answer is humans. Suddenly it all makes sense, huh? Humanity was attempting an experiment, like it always does, to accomplish a strange task or test its limitations, like it always is. This time, they'd done goofed so bad, they microwaved an entire planet. This is how it went. Human scientists began building some kind of electromagnetic sensor array around a planet's equatorial regions. This, as it turned out, was an electromagnetic microwave emitter array with millions, I'll say it again, millions of small civilian-grade microwave emitters, the same kind that you would find in your local deli, your ship's mess, or a bar. A massive solar energy collection array set up near the star fills up or charges battery banks the size of cruisers. These battery banks are then transported by barge to a microwave emitter array and then used to power the machine. With me so far? Good. Once enough power has been accumulated by the microwave emitters through the batteries, all of that energy is then released in one go by the microwave emitters, blasting the planet's surface. The planet's surface expectantly begins to rapidly increase in temperature in short order. The microwave directly affects the local planet's surface with enough energy to vibrate the atomic structure of sand, dirt, and rock particles, causing friction, which causes heat. Simple. Humans overdid it. They got their initial calculations wrong and corrected after the first experiment. As it turned out, attempt number 2 was what the humans refer to as overkill. The microwave emitter array released a microburst of energy so powerful that the planet's surface began to melt. Unfortunately, the off switch wasn't a thing that the humans decided to put in. So, there began a chain reaction because they put in too many power cells to charge it up this time. The massive heat spike on the planet's surface caused it to crack open like an egg. A planet with a naturally windy microatmosphere, with high wind speeds and natural dust devils, suddenly became a volcanic planet as its crust opened up. By the time the humans figured out how to turn it off, it was too late. 2 dust storms were going on at the time, and everyone was astonished as these storms, denoted as dust devils or tornadoes, suddenly changed color and turned a bright red as they sucked up molten rock, now being spewed from fissures in the planet's crust. These 2 storms grew, fueled by atmospheric pressure, a massive spike in heat diffusion, and a huge quantity of new material as the microwaves vaporized rock and stone and dispersed it into the atmosphere. High winds from all of the heat drove the 2 cyclonic storms to not only massive size, but also made them spin faster, with wind speeds in excess of nearly 600 miles an hour. The planet's surface, now a constant windstorm, with its entire surface now heated up to temperature high enough to melt rocks. The planet got caught up in a perpetual cycle of heating. That's when the magma hurricanes came into play. Remember those 2 storms? They combined into one massive multi-mile wide superstorm that started to have enough cyclonic force to suck up molten rock. The combination of a planet facing a runaway microwave effect, constant fissures erupting, copious quantities of molten rock and magma, then being sucked into a massive cyclonic storm that created more friction between particles, which created more heat. The entire cycle now keeps a perpetual self-sustaining storm on its surface that can melt starship hulls. Humans, being crazy and having no off switch, turned it into a tourist attraction after about a year. Every now and then, a new storm erupts somewhere on the planet's surface, and it usually either dissipates or converges with the main storm. The humans have affectionately named Haiti. And it did not end there, did it? No, it didn't. Humanity made it known they were testing new heat-resistant materials. Nobody knew why. Then, when the miracle material Mexilon was unleashed on the galactic market, not only did it make humanity stupidly rich, it also made them more famous than they already were. It's because what humans used it for. Remember that tourist attraction? They built a space elevator directly inside the hurricane's eye. The elevator follows the hurricane around because the station that supports it in space and secured by a very sophisticated thruster control system that allows the hurricane's movements. The elevator itself contains a viewing port that lets you see outside the station. The views are magnificent. Absolutely goddamn terrifying, but still magnificent. Storm clouds of various shapes and sizes, backlit by bright screaming red streaks of molten liquid that bubble out of it, curving out into the eye like a coronal mass ejection. Lightning bolts of trillions of volts suddenly bursting out in brilliant and beautiful display of purple, blue, and white, mixing up the colors in the dust and clouds to create a truly spectacular show. Sometimes the winds will coalesce into a perfect condition and smaller micro-tornadoes will form on the eye wall's surface. Sometimes, if you are lucky, you will get to see a cascade strike where a lightning bolt hits at just the perfect moment and blasts out in a brilliant display as it crashes across the entire storm wall in a massive wall of multicolored lightning. So, here's the kicker. Why did they do this? They wanted to create a super industrial popcorn maker. Yes! Do facepalm, shrug, roll your eyes, and pray to your gods. They did that to make popcorn. And this isn't even the craziest thing they did. What about the time they created a microstar during a railgun test? What about that time they created a sentient singularity called Jeff? And also that time they created a continent-sized nuclear bomb crater on Ragthar 2. Well, I might take you to meet Jeff sometime. He's quite a nice guy. End of story. Story number 2. We may have pissed off the rednecks, written by Louis Le Diamond. It was in the early morning, so to speak. I was on the flight of the capital ship as we made our way into the Sol system to attack humanity. A dwarf planet was blocking our path, and we were much too lazy to go around it. So we did what any self-reflecting, hyper-advanced spacefaring intergalactic empire capital ship crew would do. We blew it up. This would clear our way and send the humans a message. And so a single Terra Deformer bomb was sent hurtling towards the dwarf planet, shattering into trillions of tiny molten chunks. It was around the big planet with striking rings that we first encountered resistance. A bunch of rural space farmers were stalking our capital ship before they launched a message towards us. The tiny capsule meandered its way through the unforgiving vacuum towards our capital ship at a measly 92% light speed. We slowed down a bit and caught it. The message was promptly delivered into my claws. I opened the primitive material with big black letters scrawled onto it. The computer lazily translated the paper into saying, "You're next, witch." Around the really big planet, we finally made contact. But it wasn't the huge human armada that we were expecting. Instead, a tiny fleet of farmers and rural denizens lay before us. Weapons to bear, an open fire, and a small, meaningless object ejected slowly towards our armada. The lasers and projectiles did nothing to our ships. They simply bounced off. But as I was about to give the order to return fire and melt the fleet into paste, the klaxons began blaring, and I was automatically shuffled out of my seat and into an escape pod. I thought the system had malfunctioned as it frustratingly jettisoned my pod out into the planet's gravity well. But suddenly, half of our damn fleet was lit up by plasma. They set off a nova bomb. My pod did some quick calculations and determined that the small object was in fact an improvised high-yield anti-ship explosive device. The chemical composition was too weak to create such an explosion, however, and the computer could not make sense of it. In the midst of this confusion, a message was pinged into my pod. I told my computer to immediately file a report that the humans had just committed a war crime, but, to my shock, the computer informed me that because it wasn't made the same way as actual proper Nova bombs, this didn't even count as one. As I waited in orbit, one more small capsule floated my way. I knew it was the end. The humans had sent another bomb to kill the commander. When the capsule's trajectory finally intersected mine, I believed that I would be blown into a glorious display of plasma and violence only befitting a man of my rank. But instead, the pod opened up its cargo bay and received it. Delivered promptly into my claws was a primitive material with big black letters. The computer lazily translated into, "Vacuum Space Geneva." End of story. I would just quickly like to thank the T5 peeps: Dragon Soup, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Severin Cerberus, Red Panda 121, Leslie 517, Bushmaster 177, Caspar Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, Sans the Skeleton, Light Jock, Dragzoon WRE, and Lord Azricol. Thank you very much.